If you or someone you know has diabetes, you may have built up an extra supply of test strips and lancets. That's where we come in. We'll buy the supplies that you don't need and resell them to those in need to prevent waste. Help us make diabetes management more affordable. Visit us at teststripswithaz.com.
All right, we have Chandler Cole on the show. He returns to action next Friday in Hampton, Virginia. Takes on Keith Bell at CFFC 80. You can watch all the action on UFC Fight Pass. The Hammer is here. How are you, Chandler?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. It's great to have you here. We're 9 days away from this event as we record. How are you feeling as this one is fast approaching?
I'm feeling real good. In the last year, I've really grown as like a person, becoming a father and stuff. So, just the way I've approached training, the way I've approached life and stuff like that, it's been a little different. So, of course, my only loss came because I just wasn't prepared. I gassed out in the first round. And even the ones after that, I really didn't take them as serious as far as training because, fighting kind of got old. But I got this new fire in me last year when I found out my girlfriend got pregnant. And I just started training, and the training got better. And, the fight camp for Aaron Busch was great. The fight camp for Stephen Flanagan was great. And now this one's just been unreal. I'm running every day. Things that I wouldn't do at 280 pounds. I'm running 3 miles. I do sprints. I'm taking all those extra steps to make sure that, this time or any time that I lose, if I was to lose again, it's because the guy's better than me, not because I beat myself. So I took those extra steps. So I'm pumped to see how my skills line up with his, knowing how well I prepared myself.
It's amazing how fatherhood can do that to you, right? I could attest to that.
Crazy. It's unreal.
So you're 25 years old. You're 24 years old.
24 years old, yeah.
God, you guys are so young these days. Jeez Louise.
24, yeah.
So you made your amateur debut when you were 18 years old?
Yeah, actually I had went to a local fight, and I seen this guy showboating, and me, I was thinking, well, my wrestling could beat him. So I messaged the promoter. I was like, yo, let me fight that guy. And he was like, dude, he's like 170. And at the time I was only like 210 pounds. I wasn't cutting to 70. And I was like, oh, I thought he was bigger than that. And he's like, no, he's only like 170. So a couple months later, I was about to head off to college to go wrestle. And I got a phone call, and he's like, hey, would you want to fight this guy? I'm like, yeah, I guess. He was 0-0. I was 0-0. I really couldn't see anything on him. But I added him on Facebook. I just remember my uncle telling me, he was like, yo, that guy can fight. And I was like, how do you know? And he was like, because he's ugly. Ugly people always have to know how to fight. So that's how I made my debut. I was scared to death because I was fighting a guy. My uncle thought he was ugly. I was like, man, I'm going to get beat up. Why'd I take this fight? And I fought, and I just fell in love with it, man. And just ever since then, it's just been a roller coaster.
So you took this fight. Had you trained in MMA prior to that, or did you just kind of jump in and then fell in love with it after and then went training?
I think I'd been down to like the MMA gym, my local MMA gym, just to wrestle. Like I would wrestle them to get them work for their MMA fights. Because the way my style is in wrestling is, there's you got the stalling style that doesn't transition over to MMA at all. Because if you stall, then that's a good way to get peppered on the feet. So my style is more like nose to the grindstone, straightforward, just grinding out, trying just to put a lot of pressure on people. And that carried over. So I took this fight on 2 weeks' notice. So, yeah, it was a young, dumb mistake. But I won. I finished him. And then I just fell in love with it. And I told myself when I was in college, I was wrestling, I was like, man, when I get out, I'm definitely gonna fight. And some stuff happened back home, some personal stuff, and I had to come back. And once I came back, I got up with them. I was like, yo, I want to do this full time. They welcomed me in, and then the rest is history. I've just been training and fighting ever since.
It's a crazy story how you got here, but at least it took you on the path that you were supposed to go, right?
Right, and I could sit here for hours and tell you stories, but I know we probably got limited time, so Definitely. I mean, MMA is took me around like the country. I've met amazing people. Just it's been a blessing.
So you're 5-1 as a pro. You get 3 finishes in a row. You haven't seen a third round in your professional career. For those that are watching this interview right now and are seeing you for the first time, what would you say is like the marquee win for you? Like if someone wants to go to and YouTube one of your fights, what's the one that you're telling people to go watch?
Uh, phew. You know, the Aaron Busch one was pretty unique because he had only lost one fight as an amateur, and it was a split decision, very questionable. And he'd been knocking everybody out as a pro. And I just remember when I went to Vegas and tried out for the Ultimate Fighter, and I had an amazing tryout. I'm not just saying that, but like, you know, it's over with now, so I'll go ahead and say it because I don't even care. But the guy that got picked first, Anderson da Silva, like that's who I had to grapple in my tryout, and I smoked his head. Like it was embarrassing. And the fact that they picked him to go on the show, and I'm sitting here questioning, like, you know, how come I didn't get that second interview? I got the first interview, I didn't get the second interview. I made it to like the top, I think 20, top 15 or something like that. And you know, it was like a slap in my face. I was like, what? Like, so I went and tried out for the Ultimate Fighter, done great. They just didn't pick me. And then I went to California and stayed at Timo Yama. And then when I came back, I fought Aaron, like I said, Aaron Busch, 4-0, knocking everybody out. And I just remember I told my promoter, I was like, I want the best you can find. Don't care. I just want to fight someone. I want to fight someone good so that when I beat this guy, everybody's going to be like, all right, this kid's serious. This kid's good. So he's looking around for people. And crazy enough, Aaron got a hold of him. And he was like, if you're trying to protect your boy, then I'm not the fight for him. But if you want to fight, then call me up. So they got the fight. Once he said that, I said, get the contracts ready. Like, let me sign it. Like, so that's how that got set up. So I think that was a big win for me because, you know, he had never split decision lost. He'd been knocking everybody out. And then I finished him in the first round. So, I mean, it is what it is. You know, of course, every fighter when they lose, myself included, has excuses. But it is what it is. You know, I got that win over him. So I think that's a marquee win for me. Just because on everything I wasn't supposed to win. He done all these interviews too, and I wasn't supposed to win. But then I come out and finish you in the first round. Like, y'all, a lot of people let the Boom Gordon fight get it twisted. Like they watch that fight and they're like, "Oh, Chandler got finished in the first round. He ain't that good." No, that's not the Chandler that trains every day. That's not the Chandler that takes this this shit serious. Like this is me. So that's why I'm excited to fight Keith Bell. I know he's a game opponent, and I just want to fight. I just want to fight the best.
I've talked to enough fighters at this point to know that, I mean, there's enough motivation getting into a cage and fighting another person. But fighters, most of the time, are always looking for additional chips on their shoulders wherever they can find it. Is it fair to say that tough experience and kind of getting passed over, was that a chip on your shoulder?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's. I mean, when they interviewed me, they asked me. I was sitting at a round table. It was like the producer of Fox and some other guys. I forgot who they are. And I walked in and I went to go shake their hands. And they were like, "We don't shake hands." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So it kind of threw me off, kind of set me off, anyways. So I was already nervous. But then they asked me a question about my girlfriend being pregnant, and I don't know if they'd like had notes down on people they'd already had, whatever. But they had like a folder with my picture and like a bunch of stuff about me. So they were already asking me questions, and they were like, your girlfriend's pregnant. Is it gonna bother you being away for all those weeks, doing the show? And I was like, when my daughter's born, she's not going to think, oh, my daddy wasn't at those doctor's appointments. Like, my daughter's going to have to say, hey, my daddy was on the Ultimate Fighter. Like, and I just, I always think positive about anything. You can give me the worst thing. I'm going to try to draw the positivity out of it somehow. So that's what I told them. And they asked me, they was like, so what's next for you if you don't make it on the show? And I just remember telling him, I was like, well, this is just one way. Y'all gonna see me in the UFC regardless. Like, this is one way of getting on. But if not today, just know that y'all will see my face again. Like, y'all will see me. I'm still young, so I'm just training every day until that opportunity presents itself.
Those are both baller answers, and like, what did they expect you to say? Oh, my girlfriend's gonna leave me if I go on the Ultimate Fighter. Is that what they wanted to hear? They wanted that drama.
I don't know what they wanted to hear, but I mean, but you know what though, going to Vegas, I met some amazing people. I met Maurice Green. I don't think he remembers me though, but Crochet Boss. We talked a little bit. He was funny, but I don't really chop it up with him anymore. But Justin Frazier, that made it to the finals. That's my dog. That's my dude. He's always messaging me, asking me to come down and train with him. Such a great guy. Josh Parisian. He won the Contender Series, that spinning back fist, and then he was an alternate, made it on the show. And then, me, I still chop it up with him. I got to meet Daniel James. He's fighting for ACA. So I got to meet the winner. What was his name? I forgot his name, but he's from Spain. He trains the American Top Team. That dude was for real. Like, I don't even think he's made his UFC debut yet, but
Yeah,
just
Juan
regardless.
Espino.
Yeah, Espinosa. Yeah, something crazy. But yeah, even though I didn't make it, dude, the people I got to meet, as a once in a lifetime opportunity. Like, even though I didn't make it, it's okay because I'm gonna be up in that place regardless. Like, it's only a time frame until I'm up in there, and yeah, just now my only thing is, okay, so you didn't pick me, so now I'm gonna show you why you should have. So that's the only thing I'm doing now. So.
And now you get to show a lot of people next weekend when you fight Keith Bell, a veteran of 20 professional fights. He's been at this for a long time now. He's fought some tough guys like Greg Rebello, Alan Crowder. He's got a pretty solid resume in terms of opponents. He's definitely the most seasoned guy that you've faced in your career. What have you learned about Keith along the way, and how do you like this matchup?
I mean, he is good, but he has a lot of flaws in his game too, a lot of holes, and we've kind of picked up on those, and we've kind of worked on what I can do to bring those out of him, And I tell everyone, I told this guy that's cornering me, and he kind of jumped onto me, but I keep it real. I'm not gonna get on here and say I'm gonna beat the brakes off him. I'm not gonna do that because that's just not me. But I think that this is a very winnable fight. It's also a very losable fight. He's one punch away winning every fight. He's real good, strong puncher. So I'm not gonna sit and talk a bunch of crap. But I respect him, which I feel like it gives me the advantage. I respect what he brings to the table. So as long as he comes out and shows those holes in his game, like I see in every one of his fights, I think I'm good. I think that this is really good for my resume. I don't really know what his goals are as far as like what he wants to do within the fight game, but as far as me, like for me and my future, this is big for me. So I have everything to gain off this.
I was just gonna say, because with his experience level, the quality opponents that he's faced, the current run he's on, he's won 3 fights in a row. Do you feel like this is sort of the quasi litmus test for you? Like, this will be the fight to sort of see where you're at. Like, this will be the hurdle clearing fight to really shoot you off to the races.
Oh yeah, for sure. And there's a bunch of fights I'm looking at. Bellator has been signing a bunch of people to fight Jake Hager, and I think he needs that step up. I want that fight. I want to fight him. Like, everybody, they're like, oh, he'll beat you. Oh, prove it to me. Like, I don't care what Twitter thinks. Like, prove it to me. Like, I want to find out how good he is. He's fighting all these other guys. I'll fight them too. Like, sign me up. Like, if I wanted wins, I'd fight them too. Like,
so the plan is win this fight, get Jake Hager and Bellator. That's sort of the trajectory you want to be on.
I've been trying this for a long time on Twitter. I'm the best instigator of all time, but I don't think he'll take it. They're not that dumb. I don't think it's not that they're that dumb. I don't think that they want to take a chance of, because I told someone the other day, I don't look like your ideal fighter, but I bring it to the table. And I think that if I go on Bellator and I fight this cat and I beat him, I'm a 24-year-old, whatever. I think that's a really bad hit to their marketing deal that they're trying to do with him. So, I don't see it, but God, I'd want it. I want it. I just don't know if they want it.
All right. Listen, I respect the call out. I mean, that's a lot of eyeballs on you, having a guy like Jake Hager, opposite of him. And sometimes Bellator will take those chances. I mean, they signed Nick Newell to a long-term deal. They put him up against a guy in Manny Muro a couple of weeks ago, and Manny goes in there and beats him in his home state. I mean, that's just the fight game. I don't think Nick's going to fall off too far. He'll come back and he'll be fine. I think Jake would probably be the same way. They would always chalk it up to, well, he's new. So either way, you'll get the push, so to speak. He'll come back and do his thing. So I don't think it's that big of a risk. You know what I mean?
Well, I hope they think that.
I'm trying to sell this here.
I hope that's the way they look at it. My coach actually fought Nick Newell back in the World Series of Fighting days. I think it was actually another one on NBC. And Nick knocked him out. I mean, Nick is phenomenal. He's phenomenal. I've kept up with him for years now, and I'm glad to see him finally getting his break. He was on the Contender Series. It was heartbreaking. Because before that, I think for the longest time, his only loss was Justin Gaethje.
Yeah.
Which was that's a bad man. If you're gonna lose, that's the guy to lose to. So
that was a great fight too. They beat the hell out of each other.
Oh yeah. Justin Gaethje's the man. So that was his only loss for the longest time. Then he lost on. I think he may have lost one more time, or he lost on the Contender Series. It was just heartbreaking because you're always pulling for people like that. You're like, you know what, this dude don't wake up every morning and he don't make excuses and live off the government and say, I could do this, but instead he's like, no, I want to work for everything I got, and I respect that.
Yeah, he's a great guy as well. In terms of preparation, talk about where you're training to get ready for this one, and who are some of the people working with you specifically to help you get ready for next Friday.
So of course my coaches Nick Jackson and Adam Mays and stuff. I've worked with them, but a lot of stuff has been and I know this sounds crazy, but it's been soul searching. Like these runs and stuff I go on, it's been a mental thing for me, because a lot of times, it's easy for a coach to get on you, jump on you, and make you do these things. So when I'm waking up, or because I work in corrections, I work 12-hour days. I wake up at 4:00, be at work by 5:20, and work from 5:20 to 6. So actually 12 and a half hours. So when I get off work and I feel like crap, I still go work out. Regardless, so a lot of I'm still working at Team Fast and getting all those workouts in, but my extra workouts are just a lot of soul searching stuff. So I had to find that, come to one, kind of, that old Diego Sanchez type stuff. Not as weird. I ain't as weird as him. I think he's a dork, but he's cool too. But he's a dork. But
I gotta say, I'm not gonna lie to you. I think Diego Sanchez is one of the biggest reasons I got into MMA. That first season of Tough, because of the weirdness, I was drawn to him for some reason, and he just continues to be Diego. He's more Diego now than he ever was.
Oh yeah, and who knew that he could be more of himself? Oh my god. Sometimes I listen to his interviews just to get a kick out of it.
Man, I'd love to, and this is no disrespect to Diego Sanchez, because he's a warrior, he's a legend, he's an OG, but I'd love to travel around in his mind for 2 hours and just see where I'd go.
You might not make it back.
I know. You make a good point. I'll have to say goodbye.
You might not make it back.
Next Friday, UFC Fight Pass, CFFC 80, the Hammer versus Bad News in the CFFC cage. I know you're not going to say you're going to beat the brakes off him or anything, but when you visualize this fight going down, how does it normally go down?
I win. I definitely win. I don't. God. It's crazy. I literally dream about this every night. Just getting in there, them ding ding running across the cage, meeting him in the middle. Whether we dap it up, whatever, don't care. But just guns blazing. Got a lot of eyes on this fight. A lot of eyes. So. Let the fireworks go. So as soon as they say the fight, it's gonna be on. It's gonna be on. So
you're obviously very motivated right now.
Absolutely.
If all goes the way you expect it to, that's 4 wins in a row. You head into 2020 on a really nice run. What are the goals you have in mind for 2020? Is it to be more active? Are you looking at a Contender Series type situation? What kinds of things do you have in mind for us next year? Obviously not looking past the task at hand on next Friday.
Of course, whatever I can get. I didn't fight a lot. Okay, I lost in 2017 in July 21st, 2017, and I took a whole year off. No, I fought in October, and then I took it off until July, and that was just because I just had to find myself. I fighting and just like at first, like, okay, so where I'm from is in Southwest Virginia. It's Virginia, but it's southwestern, and the population of my town is 1,995. You know, and you talk about Newport News, where this guy's from. That's almost it's in the hundred thousands or a million or what. It's just a lot of people, and so like for me to be doing what I'm doing, no one else is doing it. Like from here to like an hour away, maybe like the Johnson City area. Then you start to get into some fighters, but no one does what I'm doing around here. So when I fought in 2017, I still had I was the hometown hero. Everybody was loving on me, and then I lost, and then you see all these backs get turned. So that's really why I fought again, because I had to turn around and fight again, because I had to get a win, because I was just something inside me. I was like, I'm not going out a loser. Then I fought Dustin Dyer. I finished him, and then I was like, you know what? Why am I fighting? I think I was fighting because I seen how many people was behind me, supporting me, loved me, and then I lose, and it's like, where's these people at? And it really messed with me in my mental state, because I'm not gonna get into it, but just growing up, I had a lot of adversity, and to finally get to do something that puts all the eyes on me was awesome. And then when I lose, they are gonna turn their back on me. So that's when I had to man up, and I was like, you know what? I don't even know if I want to do this. And then when I found out my girlfriend was pregnant, and then I found out the Ultimate Fighter was having the tryouts, I was like, why not? Why not me? So now it's like I was doing it for all my people, but now I get to do it for a family. I get to do it for a family. I get to do it for myself. Uh, and then the people who are still around, I get to do it for them. It's so much more now. It's less people, but it's so much more. So that's really what wakes me up in the morning to go to work. When I get off work, that's what motivates me to go work out and just stuff like that. So, yeah, it's a different.
It's so funny. It's funny, not funny, but it's interesting that you say that, because after Kama Worthy got his call to the UFC, I interviewed him before the fight, and then I interviewed him after the fight when he got the big win on ESPN, and we were talking about these things, and he said the biggest lesson he needed to learn was getting a loss and seeing how people would fall off the wagon. He feels like that's a problem with a lot of these undefeated prospects that come into the UFC. They haven't tasted that before. They don't know what that's like, to have the people on their back being like, oh, this is the golden boy, this is the money maker, and then they lose and they all fall off. That's an important lesson to learn. Obviously, you've learned that lesson. How beneficial has that been for you?
Oh, it's been great. It's been great because and I'm gonna throw this out there. I don't even care. You know, it was nothing for me to call one person and say, "Hey, having a bonfire night." Call everybody. Because that's what we do here in the country. I mean, we just round a bunch of people up, get a bonfire. Everybody bring drinks, and God, I mean, I've been at my house doing a bonfire. There was a time I threw a 4th of July party, and it had 450 people.
Ish.
Yeah, and then I just remember right before that boom fight, I threw one, and I didn't drink because I was like, God, I got a fight coming up. But I didn't know any of those people there. None of those people asked me about my fight. No one asked me about anything. It's like who's really down for me? Who's really. And that's when at first, everything started feeling weird right before that fight. And then I lost. And then everybody has their critics. They want to be like, oh, you need to work on your stand-up. It's like, oh, why don't you come be my sparring partner then? It's just little things people always want to talk about. So, no, I definitely found it sucked. I hate that it had to go down the way it did, because Boom Gordon is a great fighter.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, until I die, he didn't beat the man. He beat the food club version of the genetic version, the generic. He didn't beat and no disrespect to him, he's a tough fighter, but that's why, like I said, everybody has their excuses. But to me, that's why it bothers me, is because he didn't beat me, I beat me. I know what I was doing before that fight. I knew what my diet looked like. I knew what I wasn't doing. I wasn't in the gym like I used to, little things like that. So I just wish that, for that to be on his resume, I wish he'd got to fight the man. Right? I wish he'd got to fight the Hammer, because whatever he fought that night that guy was pathetic. So.
Well, Keith Bell gets to fight the Hammer next Friday night.
Yeah, he gets to fight the man. The man's coming. The man.
The man's looking to make it 4 straight wins on UFC Fight Pass. Great catching up with you, Chandler. Great chat with you for the first time. Before we let you go, let the folks know where they can find and follow you on the web, social media, any shout outs, anything else you want to get off your chest. The floor is yours.
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to Beast Coast Unlimited. They hooked me up with gear. They are awesome. I remember sending them a message one time asking them to sponsor me, and they were like, "Oh, we don't really need to do sponsorships." And then me and Johnny kind of like cut it up, and now that's my dog. I message him all the time, and he hooks me up, and they've just been a blessing with gear and stuff. Spartan Drug, my coach, he's actually a pharmacist, so I just want to thank him. He don't give me any illegal drugs, but like he's so smart. Because to do what he does takes a lot of like brain power, and he puts a lot of that into like his medicine and stuff. But like he puts a lot of that into jiu-jitsu and just like judo and just stuff of that nature. And he's such a like he is. I've went to like top level gyms, and he is one of the best I've ever trained with, and no one even like really knows him. Like that's how. So I respect him like crazy, and just want to give a shout out to his pharmacy, Spartan Drug. If you're in the Coburn area, you need to get your medication. That's where you need to go to. And yeah, I just want to thank Southern Steel Tattoos. They've always been there for me, always done good to me. So they always give me the hookups. And yeah, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Chandler Cole MMA.
Appreciate the time, man. All the best to you next Friday night.
Hey, no problem. Hopefully no disappointments. Hopefully you get to see the man.
Thanks, man.